What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 136. And today we're going to wrap up week 10, and we are going to talk about the week that was. Starting off with my friend from Denver, Colorado. I will be seeing you in just over 1 month at the Yankees-Mets game, Jason Ashby. Jason, our Mets better get it in order. Otherwise, I'm really concerned about facing those Yankees.
Yeah. I'm almost thinking about selling my ticket. No, I'm excited. Like, you know what? I've seen the Mets play at Yankee Stadium several times, and they've been terrible every time I've seen them there. So maybe this year will be different. We'll see.
Let's hope so. I certainly want it to be different. Ben Nisman joining us again from right down that hallway. How are you doing, Benji?
I, like you guys, wish that the Mets were having a better season. It looks like it was a dead season before Memorial Day, but I actually have seen the Mets win in Yankee Stadium in the past, so it is possible. It has happened before. Maybe you guys are in for a treat. But speaking of a treat, it truly was that watching as a commissioner this week. How incredible all the managers have been this whole season, and this week was no exception. It was just amazing. Just I was blown away across the board. We have four more incredible matchups to discuss, and arguably the upset of the season to close us out. So, without further ado, Joe, continue us through this journey and lead us off, my man.
Let's get going, boys. Let's start off with my co-hosts facing off against each other. It's Jason Ashby and Ben Nisman fighting it out, and Ben gets himself a 12-6 victory. On Sunday, Ben, you had a one-walk advantage, and Jason tied that up. And wins were tied, but you were able to take that one away. So it was, in fact, 12-6 coming in, 12-6 coming out. Close categories, Ben, you win by 9 ticks on the batting average, that win and 2 losses. Jason wins by the double, and you guys tied in triples, stolen bases, and walks. I do also want to mention here, Benji, your 28 relief appearances set a brand new 7-day Bigs week record. 28 in a week. That is 4 a day, every day for a week. That is a lot of relief appearances, man.
Yeah, funny enough, it very well could have been 29 with another win from Caleb Ferguson at the time going into that game. I was still risking losses, so I just didn't think it was worth it. But man, it could have been 29th, and that my birthday is actually December 29th, so it'd be a hard number to forget. But yeah, it's a cool honor, 28 relief appearances. It's more about how well they did through this week that is the story for me and getting me towards this victory, which was a really, really hard fought battle.
Trivia question. Do you know whose record you broke?
How long was the record standing, by the way?
2019.
I broke it. Was it mine?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it totally was. He broke his own record.
Nice.
Benji, you used all 10 ads this week, my friend. You started off with Jordan Weems for a clean relief appearance, dropping Jeff McNeil. Added John Schreiber for a clean relief appearance, dropping Jordan Weems. Added Calvin Fauché for a clean relief appearance, dropping Seth Martinez. Clean relief appearance from TJ McFarland, dropping Derek Law. Slade Ciccone was okay against San Diego, dropping Sir Anthony Dominguez. Randy Vasquez was pretty good against Arizona, dropping Eric Miller. Caleb Ferguson was a clean relief appearance against dropping Calvin Fauché. You added Joe Adell for an 0 for 3, but that's not why he's important, dropping Randy Vasquez. And finally added DJ LeMahieu 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, dropping Joe Adell, and added Jose Abreu after the bell for Slade Ciccone. Your MVP this week? How about Charlie Blackmon? 375 with a 444, 4 runs, 2 doubles, an RBI, 2 steals, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter is Will Smith, 222 with a 348, a run, a double, 2 RBIs, 3 walks, and 4 strikeouts. The Cy Young I'm giving to Randy Vasquez in his 6 2/3, 2 homers, 3 strikeouts, a 405, and an 090 whip. The Cy Young goes to Adam Ottavino, who was not good out of the bullpen in his 2 relief appearances, only 1 inning in 18 and a 3.
I get my bench.
Yeah, you didn't have one.
I didn't have a bench.
You didn't have anything on the bench this week.
No way.
No way. You didn't have a single thing on the bench this week, my friend.
Hmm.
Jason on his bench, however, went 6 for 23.
Oh, no, almost made it easy on. 257.
261.
Oh, okay.
Close.
Yeah. 2 runs, a double, a homer, 3 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts. The 2 stolen bases would have played. The 3 walks would have played. And it looks like we had the innings pitched and the win from Jared Jones' start on Tuesday, Jason.
Yeah, because of course I'm going to bench Jerry Jones against the Dodgers. He was really bad his timeout before that. So I'm like, okay, let me not start him against the Dodgers. It's early in the week, but still not going to start him against the Dodgers. And he pitches his ass off and is great. So, of course, I started him on Sunday against the Twins, and he was not so great. So that's baseball.
Susan, it is indeed baseball, Susan. What a terrible run of luck for you. You also used all 10 ads, sir. So you added Michael Conforto for an over 4, dropping Byron Buxton. You added Justin Martinez for a clean relief appearance on Saturday, and you added him on what, Monday?
Nice. Yeah, we had
all week for that. All week for an inning and a third, dropping Jorge Mateo. You added Genesis Cabrera, who was horrible. You dropped Cody Poteet and Andy Paez for Nate Pearson, who was bad. Dropped Christian Javier, rest in peace. His season is he's going for Tommy John, adding Tyler Stevenson 2 for 4 with a run and a double. You dropped Genesis Cabrera for Taylor Saucedo, who was okay in his relief appearance. You added Adam Mazur, who was awful against Arizona. You dropped Jamison Tyone. And then added Logan Webb, who was pretty good in Miami. Dropped Jackson Churio for Brandon Marsh on the IL. And then dropped Yuki Matsui for Andy Paez back to the team. 1 for 3 with a run, a double, a walk, and a strikeout. The double and the walk. Double wins the category. Walk ties the category on Sunday. Great ad. Your MVP this week is David Hamilton. Who?
Yeah. And David he was the two stolen bases on my bench were him, and he told the bases he wasn't starting that day, so I had him on the bench. He came off the bench and stole 2 bases, so he could have had 4 for me this week.
Nice. A 389 batting average, a 421 on base, 3 runs, 3 doubles, a homer, 2 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, a walk, 4 strikeouts, and an error. The least valuable hitter is a guy that we've talked a lot about this year, but hit the skids this week, Salvador Perez. 067 with a 222, a run, an RBI, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts. The Cy Young is Chris Bassett, 8 innings, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, a 113 and an 075. And the Cy Young is Genesis Cabrera. We talked about him. Jason, I'll let you have this one because you've got some notes here. Tell me what you got on your matchup this week.
Yeah, my offense had been a problem for me for a few weeks, but I feel like it finally started to shape up a little bit this week. It wasn't quite enough. But I liked the 13 home runs that I got. Everybody got a hit for me on Wednesday, which I thought was kind of cool for me. And Heimer Candelario. Let me tell you, this guy, I kept him around because the Reds were playing here. So I kept him around because it's Denver. And he hit the ball. He hit it really, he was hitting home runs and he was doing really well. But the guy can't field. Make this guy a DH. He errors every single day. My God, I had 7 errors last week, and I think he had 4 of them. Like awful. So he was definitely a take the good and the bad.
Yeah, 2 homers, 4 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases with a 269 and a 296 this week. But he did have 3 big errors for you. That alone would have lost you that category. Forget the other 4 that you picked up along the way. Yeah. Terrible week. Benjamin, what do you got?
I'm curious, does Jason have any more notes on this before I
no,
go through?
Floor is yours.
All right. every day was a roller coaster. I'll tell you right now, Jason. Even though with the double up, and I'll say this with confidence, in the whole 10 weeks we've had, this is the hardest that I've had to work throughout all the matchups that I've had, including Jay Ferraro, Jimmy Dunlap in the long week in week one. This was far and away the hardest I had to grind out for a win. On Monday, I'm thinking it's way too early to start a starter, especially in Houston. It's Kyle Gibson, and it's 5 2/3, a 4.76 ERA, 141 WHIP. Gave up a home run, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts, no decision. It's one of those things where you're like, you know what? It's Jason Ashby. I'm probably not winning in innings pitched. So let me just try to get away with winning those categories like home runs given up, walks. Turns out my team would not stop giving up home runs. They were pitching fine, but they would just keep on giving up the long ball. And I haven't been entirely aggressive like this through the season, but when Jason started giving up runs aplenty through the first 3 days, I felt, you know what? I think I can get a little aggressive here and start throwing some pitchers. I'm probably not going to win innings pitched, but maybe I can get closer to the 42 and just tighten up here and not give up a bunch of bombs, not give up a bunch of walks. Maybe I can win strikeouts somehow if it starts getting tight towards the end of the week. So I'm thinking, you know what? It's time to get aggressive. And at 3 a.m., I have two pitchers pitching against each other. San Diego is a reasonable pitcher's park. So let me just get these two guys. We we're at this point right now where a win could matter, and in two guys facing against each other, I can only take one loss here. I feel comfortable in the loss category. Jason had already given up 3 losses. So it's Ciccone and Vasquez against each other in Petco. Neither one were good. I'm going to say Randy Vasquez, 6 2/3. We gave him the Cy Young. I personally probably would have given Taijuan Walker for a clutch performance against the Mets on Sunday. I'll get into that a little bit more in a moment, but a 4.05 ERA and 90 WHIP, pretty solid. Ciccone, 4 1/3, a home run, a walk, 3 strikeouts, 623, a 185. His team wins the game, but he goes 4 1/3. So I'm not getting a win. I'm not getting a loss either, but that wasn't an ideal situation. And then on Friday, Jason's team just ripped the crap out of the ball. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but Friday he just dominated on the offensive side, where I was just a 233 and a 273 on base, 1 run, 1 double, 1 home run, 2 RBIs, a walk, a steal, 7 strikeouts, a walk, 2 steals, and an RBI, no home runs. Pardon me. I was reading across the line. And then on Saturday, they just picked it up. And Sunday, again, about as clutch as they could be. Carlos Santana, play him on Sunday. You get the walk that would tied it, the double that almost tied it, except Jason's brilliant move of Pages. That guy grabs him, the double to take that category, the walk to tie it. I go with DJ LeMahieu with a 1 for 3. He gets on base. I'm getting fired up because I just held down average. There's no way I can lose average now because at least I'm not going to get like an 0 for 7 or an 0 for 8 from Will Smith and LeMahieu combined. He gets on base. I'm not expecting the steal, but he's going, and I'm about to win steals. The umpire calls him safe, and it gets overturned. And that was the beginning of Jason making this comeback where I was right there about dominate, right? Get that stat as well. Nope, that one ends up being tied. The other thing that before, and I'll just say, and then Pages we discussed, he gets the double and the walk, the double to go ahead, the walk to tie it. My third move on around 3 a.m. on Thursday was going to be Mitch Garver. And that would have been a monster day on Thursday. He went like 3 for 3, 2 walks, a home run. He didn't get a double that I would have needed, but the 2 walks, that ends up winning the category. I go with Caleb Ferguson instead because I'm like, let me just keep on grabbing these relief appearances, making sure I get that, making sure I get close to the minimum. And then because I don't make that play, Mitch Garver, I feel like I have to make it up with Joe Adell on Friday. And I'm like doing it thinking, this is not going to work. This just isn't going to work at all. 0 for 3, no strikeouts, but it's just an 0 for 3 on Friday. And I'm like, you know what? I'm obviously going to keep him around another day just because, okay, just because he was bad yesterday. If he's starting today, maybe he does something. Fortunately, Grichuk is in the lineup. Neither is Carlos Santana. Joe Adell does get the start here. And it's an 0 for 3, but yeah, a walk and a stolen base. So now, even though I would have won walks probably, but I don't win stolen bases, it would have been a win and a loss. Instead, I think of it as I get ties in walks and stolen bases. Two ties will actually be better in the standings than a win and a loss. So maybe because I don't make the Mitch Garver play, it actually works out a lot better. And then the final thing I want to throw in here, besides how great my bullpen was all week, they were helping out on everything that the starting pitching wasn't doing, was the hitting of Charlie Blackmon in the first few days of the week. And then in the second half, Carlos Santana, he picks up the pace. My 12th and 13th pick, these were the guys that just carried the week. You know, the 12th and 13th pick, my 7th and in my 8th and ninth hitters, basically, like these were the guys that really protected me in the final stages of the week.
Benji, you are sitting very pretty in a playoff spot right now. Jason is sitting toward the bottom as well. Now, we had talked last show about where we thought Frank's season was. This is a little bit different, but comparing it with Levo and Ari and Frank, how do you feel about Jason's season at this point?
Honestly, I have a lot more optimism with Jason's team than the other three teams that you mentioned. Number one is because the actual players on it. Number two is because Jason Ashby is a brilliant manager. And number three, just like a move that he made on Sunday, that Pages play, getting two stats, 13-5 versus 12-6. I mean, that is enormous. Like little things like that will creep him closer and closer. He's a big win away from putting himself right back into this thing. If I'm him, I'm not happy. I'm not thrilled with how this is going. It's obviously a pretty ugly losing streak that he's dealing with. But I think in general, besides the schedule, which is not in his favor, but loses in this league really every freaking match of the stuff, it, he's in a better position than a couple of these other teams. I'll say that.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Jason, how are you feeling on your season?
Yeah, you know, you just made a good point that made me realize, like, yeah, there really is no breaking the schedule this year like there was in the past. There's no Matt Losies, there's no Adam Lowenstein, or not Adam, who's the other guy last year
Christian.
Christian, yeah.
Christian Wood. You know, so there's really no there's no breezes this year. So
No.
every week is a, you know, grind, nose down, like, you know, get your best guys out there. So yeah, it's tough. I don't love what's happened this year. But I know that everybody else is going to be struggling along with me. So if I can find a big win here or there, maybe things get shaken up. You know, we'll see. I'm not
Yeah,
counting myself out just yet, but I know it's a very tough hill to climb.
right. Now, on the schedule thing, and I'll just because it is important to discuss because everyone's that is in that situation, the Brian Levos, you, Frank, Ari, this is it. Like these next 4 weeks. And we discussed how Frank now has to really, really grind it out right now against Jimmy, Cody, Adam, Jay Ferraro. Jason, you have Ari, Jimmy, Cody, Adam. I'd sign up for what you got over the next 4 weeks to now get to Ari off a win.
Yeah.
That's as good as you can ask for. You're dealing with a 5 week losing streak, 14-4, 18-2, but then it gets a little bit better, 11-10, 13-8, and 12-6. I mean, if you can somehow find a way to double up Ari here, and don't forget everything else is going on around you with all the other teams, maybe some upsets happen,
Right.
you could find yourself in a better position because with 11 weeks to go, after assuming you beat Ari to take him down in a pretty good fashion, you could be in a pretty decent spot, dude. I mean, a lot is going to happen around you, and you just got to tread water and then just find a way to just get that big win at the right time. But I believe in you to make a fight in here, if not be the nastiest spoiler. Like I said, guys, this is the hardest I had to work all week as far as like manipulating what was going to happen and trying to assume somehow pulled off innings against this guy. I mean, I was sure that I might as well not even try, but after just chipping away, grabbing a stack here, going after this guy's start, he only has a certain amount of ads left. Like I might win innings, and I figured out a way to grab it. It was huge for me to do that. I mean, that was one of the bigger things that I've done all season is find a way to take you down in innings. Sure, I lose home runs given up. Sure, I lose strikeouts. But across the board, like the pitching was just better. And the
Yeah.
fact that I kind of did the math and said, you know what, you have three starters on Sunday. I have one. I have that 15 inning lead. You got all these relievers that didn't go in on Saturday, but I might have some guys that come in as well. Let me see how this thing plays out. And I was very tempted to pick up the Toronto starter that Brian Lebo ended up picking up on Sunday, thinking against Oakland, this could be the win that I need. But you know what? If all of his pitchers do really well, and I assume pitchers will succeed more than I assume hitters will succeed, he might actually chip away at ERA if my guy is really, really bad. So let me just look at it. Let me see how Taiwan pitches. Let me see how his guys pitch. Let me see this thing all play out. And it just seemed like as the math count came closer and the innings were going away, you were going to need a lot of innings to catch up between the rest of your starters and your bullpen. And then, holy crap, somehow the Angels tied the game against the Astros. Estevez gets a clean inning. They walk off. I get the win from
Yeah.
of all those starters that you had going on Sunday that somehow couldn't find their way in a win. I get one out of Estevez to take that category. This week was absolutely insane, guys. I've never really experienced this kind of stuff happening in my most recent memory of the grinding back and forth. Jason had a lead that I had to climb back from. Jason, you were unbelievable this week, man. The score does not indicate how challenging this was for me to grind it out.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Every time I see you on the schedule, I know that I need to put my best foot forward. And I tried. I kind of knew what I was doing. I used 5 ads through Tuesday. Like I used half my ads through Tuesday. And so I kind of knew that going through the rest of the week, I had to be a little bit cautious. I was kind of watching you, seeing what you were doing, kind of trying to stay close to 1 for 1, somewhere around there. And as we get closer to the end of, towards the weekend, I see that innings are still kind of there. It was nervous for me. Let me tell you, if I don't have 20 innings after like Wednesday, I'm like flipping out. And I think I had 17 innings at like Thursday, and I'm like going, shit, I need to make this minimum. But I knew that I was stockpiling starters for the latter half of the week and the weekend. So I was like, okay, this could work. But yeah, to have 3 guys go on Sunday and not one of them get a win, like especially George Kirby pitched really, really well. It was just, yeah. And of course he pitched really well. The bullpen fucked it up. And then Saucedo gets me a save. The only save that I've gotten in the last like 3 weeks comes from Taylor Saucedo because nobody else can pitch in that bullpen. But it didn't matter.
Yeah. And look, you were striking out at an alarming pace, and that's when I was just like, you know what? Maybe because he's struggling to get to the minimum here, this is the time to start piling on innings because he doesn't have as many ads left. Like maybe I can find a way to just grab a start and get a little bit here, a little bit there, and you still pitch with a 61 strikeout to a 60 and a third inning. That's basically a 1-to-1 ratio where me 52 strikeouts over the 65.2 thirds. And that was something throughout the week. I was just like, I'm not striking out a lot of guys through innings. Like he's insane in this set right now. So like I might be just forgetting about strikeouts and just try to go for other stuff. This was just insane. Amazing, amazing. And it's a matchup that I'm talking about now, and I have so much to break down here because I think this is one that I'm going to remember for a long time. I wish it was better. I wish that Jason wasn't such a great manager, because he doesn't make that highest move on Sunday, and this looks better. But that's the beauty of the league right now. Like, you're not going to get those stats. You're just not. Like, you're playing too good of a manager on Sunday. Something is going to fuck you. That's what happened.
On Sunday, something's gonna fuck you every single week. That should be the catchphrase of this year. 2024, Sunday's gonna fuck you. Brian Levo knows all too well about that, as he was nipped in the butt again this week. Let's move on to the next matchup, gentlemen. Let's talk about Cody Piatt taking a 14-4 dominating win over Bobby Russo. This was a surprise, if nothing else. Now, coming into the Sunday, it was 13-5 in favor of Cody. So it goes in 13-5, comes out 14-4. On Sunday, Bobby had a 2-run advantage. Cody took that. Cody had a 2-home run by a pitcher advantage and gave up 2 bombs to tie that category. Bobby had a 3-strikeout advantage, and Cody took that. And relief appearances were tied, and Bobby took that. On Cody's bench this week, Benjamin, he goes 8 for 33.
You kidding me?
Nope.
254?
242. 5 runs, a double, a homer, 4 RBIs, a steal, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts. None of it plays. He used all 10 ads this week. He added Jacob Webb for a clean relief appearance, dropping Taj Bradley. Added Zach Pop for not a clean relief appearance, dropping Hunter Brown. He added Heliot Ramos 0 for 2 with 2 walks and 2 strikeouts, dropping Colt Keith. He added Shelby Miller, who didn't enter the game, dropping Zach Pop. He added Will Smith, the reliever, for a clean relief appearance, dropping Shelby Miller, and Willie Abreu, who was a waiver claim off of the IL for Masataka Yoshida. That seems like a Red Sox homer move. He added Sir Anthony Dominguez for a clean relief appearance, dropping Jacob Webb. Sean Armstrong for a clean relief appearance, dropping Ryan Jeffers. He added Austin Voth for a bad relief appearance, dropping Sean Armstrong. And Eric Miller after the bell, dropping Rafael Montero. His MVP this week goes to Yainer Diaz, 350 with a 350 on base, 4 runs, 4 homers, 10 RBIs, and 3 strikeouts. Nice piece there. The least valuable hitter goes to Jock Peterson, no hits, a 154 on base percentage, an RBI, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. The Cy Young goes to Luis Heel, 6 innings, nothing earned, a win, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, and 0.67 whip. And the Cy Young goes to Ryan Weathers, who was not good. I don't even know where he is. He was so bad.
Oh, he's on the IL. There he is.
Oh, there he is. 2 1/3 with 7.71 and a 1.71. He was not great. He was not great at all. For Bobby on his bench this week, Benji, he goes 4 for 11.
Oh, nice job. 375.
364. 3 RBIs, a steal, 2 walks, and none of it plays.
Nice.
Yeah. His moves this week, he used 9 of them. Dane Dunning for a nice start against Detroit, and Spencer Arrighetti, who was horrible and left with a calf bruise, dropping Jesse Winker.
I feel like everybody's been using Arrighetti lately. Like everybody's just been doing that, and he's never been good. Like it's maybe someone got that great start, or maybe that's the one that he stayed on free agency and no one wanted to touch him. But basically, that guy's a hand grenade right now.
He's one of the biggest hand grenades in baseball right now.
Yeah.
He had 1 good start against Seattle last time out on the 30th.
Probably no one touched him for that start. Or else he'd still be on the team. He'd probably be on somebody's team. You know what I mean? Because usually,
he was definitely out there as a free agent for that start. Yep. He dropped Evan Carter. Yep, he dropped Evan Carter for Miguel Andujar, 0 for 3 with a strikeout, dropping Dane Dunning. Dropped Arrighetti for Luke Raley, 0 for 2 with a strikeout. He dropped Raley for Connor Wong, 2 for 4 with 3 runs, 2 RBIs, a walk, and a strikeout. Added Alec Marsh for a bad start against Seattle, and Roddery Munoz, who was horrible against Cleveland, dropping Miguel Andujar. He picked up Drew Smiley, who didn't pitch, dropping Alec Marsh, rather, and added Randy Rodriguez for a clean relief appearance, dropping Munoz. His MVP this week is Jordan Westburg. 233 with a 258 on base, but he filled the stats across the board. 4 runs, a double, 2 triples, a homer, 3 RBIs, 2 steals, a walk, and 6 strikeouts. 2 triples alone won him that category.
Do all that and still only hit 233. That's impressive.
233, yeah. Yeah, he had 4 extra base hits. They might be his only hits of the week. The least valuable hitter is David Fry, I guess. 235 with a 235, a run, 2 doubles, 2 RBIs, and 3 strikeouts. Both these guys hit incredibly well, so it's very difficult to find somebody there. But Bobby just got the short end of the stick. 38 runs scored, 10 homers, 32 RBIs, 18 walks, a 289, and a 365 on base percentage. Didn't win a single one of those categories. A single one of them.
Yeah, I mean, you got Stephen Kwan here with 7 runs, batting .462 with a .611 on base, and it didn't matter.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter. It just wasn't enough. His Cy Young this week is the most underrated pitcher in baseball, Logan Webb. 7 innings, a win, 6 strikeouts, a 2.57 and an 0.71. The Cy Young goes to Reese Olson. 4 innings, a loss, 6 strikeouts, an 18 and a 3.25 whip. Benji, this one was really competitive despite it being as blowout as it is because Bobby played his ass off for this.
Yeah, no question. And the fact that there were some stats that did fall in his favor on Sunday. You mentioned that home runs ended up being tied because Cody gave up a couple. The fact that Bobby grinded out to grab relief appearances on the last day, he wins that one by 1. It's unfortunate. That's 289 and a 365 on base, and he loses every single hitting category except for strikeouts given up and triples. So the fact that Westburg grabs him 2 triples and could have very well not done, those could have been doubles instead, or they call doubles in an error, or the fact that he's able to grab that one there, that he had 3 categories that end up being tied here, that saves is one of them with only 2, and you end up not losing that category. Walks by a pitcher, he wins that by 2. Like the stats that he won fairly close. So this could be worse. He's had such an incredible season so far. He's 10 over 500. You got to sign up for that going into week 11. It sucks. I've been there where you have one of your best weeks offensively, but it's a matchup thing. You walk into that. That sucks. But it's not like Bob pitched that well. He threw to a 4.55 and a 1.36 whip. Cody had a 2.08 ERA and a 95 whip. So no one was beating Cody this week. Like whoever was going to play Cody was not going to win. It was just a matter of how much you were going to lose by. Are you going to lose by 7 sets? Are you going to lose by 10? In this case, it's 10. It sucks, but maybe next week Bobby is able to stay somewhat hot, and his pitching should be better than last week. So maybe he can beat his opponent in the pitching categories if now is the week that his offense starts to slow. What else can you say about Cody Piatt, guys? Jason, you are the prince for bringing this guy into the league, although he's giving us a lot of issues when we're playing against him, which is annoying in its own way. But I hope he knows how I am, and I hope, in a sense, the guys that know how important it is to see another guy competitive in this league, guys that weren't, obviously hurt the league in some way because we need everybody to fight each week. We need everybody to be, if they're going to be a spoiler, they'll be a spoiler in week 21 and week 22. This guy has been working his ass off, 10 ads while he has a baby. I mean, it's amazing watching the progression. And obviously, Bobby, he's having such an awesome year. This is just they're actually like monsters in our league right now that are both at the top of this league. It's just weird that it ends up being a +10 for Cody, for the new guy. Guys, this is amazing what we're seeing.
But like you said, Bobby's offense was good enough to beat just about anybody. So if you're Bobby, you have to figure that whoever your opponent is next week, if my offense can do at least some of this, like you probably stand a pretty good chance of at least being competitive. So this is, like you said, this is just you just ran into a hotter offense. That's really what it came down to.
Yeah, he ran into the wrong team on the wrong week. Again, Cody hit over 300 and had an on-base percentage near 400 with an ERA right around 2. I mean, you're not gonna beat that guy this week.
No,
You're just
no,
not. It was too
no.
strong a team.
Yeah, he also, and it's not even like it was a 208 and he's just getting over the minimum. He threw
70 innings.
69, yeah, nearly 70 innings with this. Bobby couldn't even catch him in innings with what he was doing. He was just going to continue to throw starting pitchers, and they're all going to work, like every single one of them, basically. So at that point, it's a circumstance like Jason had with Mike Sherman last year. Just throw your hands up and say, "I'm done. I've tried everything. Move on to next week."
Yep. Well, let's move on to the next matchup here, and we're going to talk about Adam Lowenstein taking down a 12-8 victory over Kostas Paragios. It was 11-10 coming in, and on Sunday, Kostas had a triples lead. Adam was a beneficiary of a Sunday triple to tie that category. Kostas led by 2 strikeouts by a batter, and he struck out more times than Adam and ended up losing that category. Close categories this week, Kostas wins by 3 walks and 2 saves. Adam wins by that 1 strikeout, a win, a loss, and a relief appearance. And they tied in triples. For Adam, on his bench this week, Benjamin, it is a 9 for 20.
Wow. Pretty terrible. I wonder if some of these stats play. 9 for 20. Is it 480? I don't know.
It's 450.
450.
450. 7 runs, 2 doubles, and 3 strikeouts, and none of it plays. He made 3 moves this week. Daniel Lynch for Kevin Pillar. Lynch was terrible against Seattle. He dropped Lynch for Frankie Montas, who was even worse against the Cubs, and dropped Haney for Kevin Pillar, who was on the bench when he homered. He's MVP this week is going to be Jose Altuve, 357 with a 379, 5 runs, a double, a homer, 5 RBIs, a steal, a walk, and 6 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter is Connor Joe, who hit 100 with a 182, 3 runs, a triple, a homer, 3 RBIs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, and 2 errors. He did get the Sunday triple. Good job. It was like one of his maybe 2 hits this week.
Wow. But he gets them a stat. He avoids losing.
Absolutely.
How horrific he was, but my God, like that was clutch on Sunday.
No doubt. No doubt a clutch Sunday. The Cy Young goes to Nick Pivetta, 7 innings, a win, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts, nothing earned in an 0-4-3. The Cy Yuck goes to Daniel Lynch, who was terrible, or Frankie Montas, who was worse. So those guys were both absolutely terrible for this week. For Kostas on his bench this week, Benjamin, it is a 1 for 13.
Wow, nicely done. 087.
076, very close.
Yeah.
A steal, a walk, and 5 strikeouts, and none of that plays. Kostas used 9 ads this week. He started off with Cutter Crawford in an okay start against Atlanta, dropping Alex Paedo and Miguel Andujar. He adds Will Benson, 2 for 3, 2 runs, a triple, and 3 RBIs, dropping Orlevis Martinez, whoever the hell that guy is. He added Mark Leiter for a clean relief appearance, dropping Simeon Woods Richardson. He adds Michael Bush 0 for 2 for Will Benson. Adds Andy Piatt 1 for 2 with a run, 2 walks, and a strikeout for James Paxton. Adds Jesse Winker 2 for 4 with a strikeout for Michael Bush. He adds Genesis Cabrera for a save and a relief appearance, dropping Andy Piatt. He adds Spencer Turnbull, who did not appear for Michael Lorenzen, and Pat Sandoval, who was bad against Houston for Keibert Ruiz. His MVP this week. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Genesis Cabrera, the same guy who shit the bed for me, gets Costas a save, so that's cool.
That's terrible. His
Asshole.
MVP this week is also a guy I feel like you may have owned at one point, Luis
I did own,
Rengifo.
yes.
333 with a 400, 2 runs, an RBI, 4 stolen bases, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter is Josh Lowe, who hit 100 with a 182 on base, a double, an RBI, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. I have next to Yimi Garcia question mark as the Cy Young because he did get a save and 2 wins in his 3 relief appearances. But Kostas didn't exactly pitch well to a 485, so not exactly sure if we want to give it to that guy. The Cy Yuck goes to James Paxton, though. His 32.40 and a 4.80 ERA across an inning and 2/3. Gross. I don't know how you feel about this. This Yumi Garcia. It could be Kyle Bradish, I guess. 6 innings, a win, and 9 strikeouts, nothing earned in an 0-1-7. But Yumi Garcia got 2 wins and a save.
Those were his 3 appearances.
Yeah. So every time he got into the game, something good happened. Benji, what'd you see here, my friend?
Well, I saw Adam take a humongous risk in the Sunday night game. He got kind of caught up with family stuff, and Freddie Freeman should not have been playing on Sunday night. He really took that risk of a strikeout. He gets left on deck as Mookie Betts strikes out to end the game, and he gets out of there like carefully. And I mean, it could have been really, really bad if like he ends up if let's say Freddie Freeman has a horrible game and he strikes out enough time for him to lose this category, and the final is 11-9 instead of 12-8. It's a big difference right now. Everyone at this point knows that like these managers like an Adam Lowenstein, Kostas, they're a couple of wins away of like all of a sudden you having to deal with them. And Adam is over 500, which is really awesome to see. Like he had an over 500 season last year. After 10 weeks, he's right in the thick of things. Costas, he's under 500, but he's right there as well. Um, yeah, it's at this point where like these 2 managers could, take that next step. And I mean, we're gonna have to see. Right now, it's not like Costas is really leading in a ton of things. He is second in innings pitched to Cody. Cody has 742 innings so far. Costas is second with 707. It's not, I mean, it's having the most innings. It's not really going to stand in anyone's way, really. It's really how well you're pitching in those innings, where Adam is actually leading our entire league in doubles, 135 doubles. Next best is Mike Haber with 129. Adams had some trouble through the weekends these last couple of weeks, where he's had nice leads, and it just seems like in the last couple of days, Adam finds a way to like almost either play himself out of it, not play enough, not be aggressive, and go and get that stat. He's able to win relief appearances by 1 here. That's astounding its own way. I almost feel like that's one that I'd expect Costas to find a way to grab. So amazing management from both of these guys. Costas at only 13 under 500. He could go on a run here. My fear is that Costas' schedule is really ugly right now. Homie, you wanted Jay Ferraro in this league because you love playing against him because you know how competitive he is. Have fun with that this week, man. You got to start with Jay, then you have Mike Sherman, then Joe Schubert, and then Bobby Russo, then Josh Tabor. Have
It's a
fun.
rough 5 weeks.
Have fun.
It's a rough
Have
5
fun.
weeks. This is
That's
this is where Costas proves he's either a contender or a pretender in the next 5
yeah.
weeks.
Yeah,
For
it's
sure.
it's just it gets really, really, really tough for both of them. For Adam, it's Bobby and then Josh, Frank, Jason, and then Mike Haber. Have fun with those 5 weeks, man.
Yeah.
It looks ugly, and I'm not entirely confident about how they can do through these 5 weeks. Their managing styles are almost similar to each other, but very different than a Jason or a Joe or a Jay Ferraro or a Mike Haber or myself. I'm not saying they're toast. I'm saying just like a Jason or a Frank, their season's kind of on the line in these next 5 weeks. I don't know. How do you guys feel?
Go ahead, Jason. What are you thinking here?
Yeah. I feel like if I'm looking at their current rosters, I think I kind of like Adams' team a little bit better. What I'm really seeing, especially with his offense, he doesn't really have any guys. He has enough starters that start every day. He has enough everyday players, so he's not mixing. He's not having to mix and match, wondering if a guy is gonna be out today. So he can carry a short bench and just stockpile a shit ton of pitchers because he doesn't have to worry about having to have a hole in the lineup. So I like that strategy. I think that's really really keen. And the pitchers he has, they're not going to blow you away, But Nick Pivetta was really good. Grayson Rodriguez was really good. Yusei Kikuchi was really good. So, like, if he's getting, you know, good outings from these guys, it's going to work for him. And I, yeah, I like what Adam has here. I think he has a chance to really be, if nothing else, a pain in the butt for all the other guys trying to get in. But I can see where he gets in.
It's possible. I mean, he's over 500. He's got the schedule to play with here, and he's going to be able to beat up on guys ahead of him. He might be able to make this thing happen if he gets hot at the right time. Going to be interesting to see. Like you said, Benji, their seasons are kind of on the line here. They can be contenders or they can be pretenders, and we'll really find out over the next 5 weeks. Let's move on to the final matchup, and this one really was the star matchup this week. It was the upset of possibly the season, and at least this matchup of the week this week. It's Mike Sherman taking down a 10-9 win over Jay Ferraro. On Sunday, it was 10-8 in Sherman's favor. It ends up 10-9, but that's not really the story here. 11 different categories changed in one way or another on Sunday. Let's talk about it. Mike had a 2 doubles lead, and Jay tied that. Jay had a 1 triples lead. Mike Sherman not only got the Sunday triple, he got 2 and won the category outright. Jay had a home run advantage, and Mike took that and tied it. Mike had a 3 RBI advantage, and Jay took that from him. Stolen bases were tied, and Jay got 2 on Sunday. Strikeouts, Jay led by 3, and Mike Sherman struck out fewer times, and Jay lost that. Batting average, 2 ticks in Mike Sherman's favor. He barely hangs on to that. 1 2/3 innings in favor of Mike Sherman. Jay takes that. Mike had a wins advantage. Jay takes that and then some. Losses were tied. Jay took 2 of those. Walks were tied. Jay gave up 3 extras. And strikeouts. Mike Sherman led by 3 strikeouts. Jay took that. 11 different categories changed in one way or another on Sunday. For Sherman on his bench this week, Benjamin, it is a 2 for 21.
Is it 88.8088?
095.
All right.
2 runs, a double, a homer, an RBI, 2 steals, a walk, 7 strikeouts, and an error, and a relief appearance missed by John King on the 7th.
Friday, yeah.
Yep. For his moves this week, only 2 of them. He added Stephen Kolek for 2-inning relief appearance, dropping Griffin Canning, and added Hobie Milner for a clean relief appearance, dropping Jose Quintana. His MVP this week is Teoscar Hernandez, 360 with a 429 on base, 6 runs, 3 doubles, 4 bombs, 10 RBIs, a steal, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, and an error. The least valuable hitter goes to Willie Adames, 050 with a 174 on base, an RBI, 3 walks, and 8 strikeouts. The Cy Young goes to Luis Severino, 8 innings, a win, 4 strikeouts, a 113, and an 088. And the Cy Young goes to Javier Assad, 5 2/3, a loss, a bomb, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, a 794, and a 159. For Jay Ferraro on his bench this week, Benjamin, he did not record any statistics. He used all 10 moves this week. He added Wandy Peralta for Dennis Santana, added Wenzel Perez for Andrew Nardi, who went 0 for 4 with a strikeout. He added Cooper Criswell for Wenzel Perez, Tyson Miller for a clean relief appearance, dropping Hunter Strickland, Austin Voth for a clean relief appearance, dropping Jacob Young, and Austin Hayes 1 for 3 with a double and a strikeout, dropping Willie Abreu. He added Hunter Brown, 6 innings, nothing earned against the Angels, dropping Austin Voth. He added Jacob Young 0 for 3, dropping Austin Hayes. Added Hunter Strickland, who was terrible against the Houston Astros, but got hosed. I'll tell you more about that one in a minute. Dropping Tyson Miller, and added Jacob deGrom to his IL, dropping Cooper Criswell. His MVP this week is going to be Adley Rutschman, 323 with a 364, 5 runs, 3 homers, 11 RBIs, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter is Jacob Young, 077 with a 143, a run, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. The Cy Young is Shota Imanaga, 11 innings, a win, 2 bombs, a walk, 13 strikeouts, a 245, and a 111. And the Cy Young is Hunter Strickland. Now, his line is going to tell you that he went 2 1/3 with a win, 2 bombs, 2 walks, a 19.29, and a 3 whip in 3 relief appearances. However, Hunter Strickland's final relief appearance on Sunday, he basically got strike 3 on Alex Bregman right down the fucking middle, and the ump didn't call it. And then the rally began from there. And I think it ended with a Yordan Alvarez home run. And it absolutely sucks that happened. You know, not because Jay would have won ERA or whip, but getting the loss out of that guy and getting him stoned like that off of the Houston Astros at the end of the week was just kind of a kick in the nuts to what was already a really weird Sunday happening. Benji, what did you see here, my friend? We saw some wild stuff here.
Well, we saw Sunday night. It was Volpe versus Teoscar Hernandez. That was really the big matchup that we were watching because when batting average could go either way, if somebody hits a home run, all of the strikeouts, obviously, we see was very close. I mean, a lot of different things could happen, and they were just going back and forth. And all of a sudden, Jay had the lead, and then all of a sudden, Mike had the lead, and it was just weird. Like Teoscar hits a home run in the Sunday night game to tie the category, and then oh my God, he has the batting average lead. The final is, guys, how about 51 for 207 or 46 for 187? They both are a 246 batting average, but 5 extra hits in 20 extra at bats for Mike. It goes into his favor. How many ads did Mike make all week?
2. And they were both on Monday.
Right. And they're both on Monday. And he still wins relief appearances against who? Jay Ferraro? With 2 ads, he still wins that category against one of the best at picking bullpen I've ever seen. The fact that this went to this point, guys, with doubles tying and home runs tying and 10 plus categories changing on Sunday, and that's not even talking about everything that happened through the week. This is by far the matchup of the season, the upset of the season for me. And it just goes to show like how special the league is. Like this should be a layup for Jay, but he didn't do enough offensively. He certainly didn't pitch well enough, and he did the best with what his guys were doing, and they weren't really executing. And he still managed to grab RBIs. He still managed to get stolen bases. Of course, he was going to grab saves, but he gave up 12 bombs. He loses walks given up. Like these kinds of things that you don't typically see, but his players didn't bring it. He managed as well as he could have to get a win, and that's why it's only 10-9. It could have actually been worse, but I mean, guys, this is something special when like an upset can happen like this during the season, and obviously we can all say that Mike Sherman is not an aggressive manager. Like We know that 10 ads is going to benefit guys like him or guys like Ari or Adam Lowenstein, the guys that, or even Kostas, that don't use 10 ads typically. It kind of hurts those more aggressive managers like the three of us, like Jay, like Jimmy, Brian Leva. But that's what just goes to show it just doesn't matter. Like the players still have to do it for you. Like you can only do so much. And the fact that he loses relief appearances, the fact that he loses batting average by this much, the fact that the decision in the it was all decided on Sunday Night Baseball. This matchup had it all, guys.
No doubt. No doubt. Guys, let's talk about managers of the week on this crazy week 10. Let's start it off with number 3. Jason, let's start with you. Who you got at number 3?
Gosh, I don't know how the first half of the show went, but I'm gonna go Mike Haber here. He's sitting pretty in first place, takes down a tough manager in Henry Collins, who really made me work last week. And like I know it was only 13-7. I know Sunday wasn't a great Sunday for Mike, but I still gotta give him credit for just being at top of the league and doing what Mike Haber does. So hats off to Mike.
Hats off to Mike for continuing to run the show here. Benji, who you got at number 3?
I know he used a good amount of ads here, and he had a big win. I'm only giving Cody number 3 here because whatever he did, I mean, his players basically just did it for him. They just crushed it all week, and I'm not gonna not acknowledge him. I feel bad that I can't move him higher on this list, but yeah, I'm giving him third place here. Cody, what else can you say about this guy who we thought, he'd probably have to adjust to our league. Now guys don't even want to face him because they look at the roster. So well done by him. He's my third manager.
Congratulations, Cody. I got Josh Haber at number 3 here with a 12-8 win over Jimmy Dunlap. A real solid win and a really great way to keep yourself in the number 2 spot. Keeping that guy under 500 this year. Really good, solid win this week. Jason, who you got at number 2?
Yeah, this was a last minute change for me, but I'm gonna give it to Cody, because I know his team did it for him, and his ads were okay. Some of them were good. Some of them were nothing great. But I mean, you take down a manager like Bobby and not close by 10. I had to give credit to that. So Cody's my number 2.
Yeah, I'm going to echo that one and say Cody's my number 2 as well. Taking down Bobby and being the strongest team this week, both offensively and pitching wise, deserves to be up there. Number 2 this week. Benji, who you got at number 2?
Yeah, here I got Jo Schubert. I mean, I realize he's playing against a struggling team, but I saw a lot of work put in throughout the week from Jo Schubert. The McNeil pickup, I would say, better to be lucky than good sometimes, Joe. I thought that was a really, really risky play. I mean, I think he's one of the more hand grenade plays in as far as hitters go in all of baseball right now. But you picked him at the right time. Like Sunday was the time you had this intuition that something like this could happen in London this weekend, and that's where your mindset was. And I thought that was very impressive. And just the way you gutted out innings was really tough. You couldn't grab strikeouts because he was still going to fight with Glass now on Sunday night. But the way you played this matchup and the fact that it was tight and you found a way to get through it, you have the worst batting average in our league, man. Like right now, you are sitting in dead last in batting average with a 235. And the fact that you're able to make it work the way you have just goes to show that yeah, the players do have to execute, but if you're not going to do anything, if you're not going to go and get that extra stat, if you're not going to take chances, you're not going to use 10 in the best way possible, maximize your 10 ads, if you will, you're not going to be successful. You found a way to gut out a win here.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. My number 1's going to Mike Sherman. A really strong win for him over Jay Ferraro. Yeah, gotta give him that tough win. But you know what? When you have the upset of the season, I'm going to give you a ton of credit, and I'm going to give you manager of the week. So good win over Jay Ferraro. Jason, how you feeling on that one?
Yeah, yeah. I came into the show thinking it was going to be Cody, but after we just talked about that, broke down that matchup, it has to be Mike Sherman. The way that all went down, I gotta give it to him.
Good job, Mike Sherman. We got to give some love to the guys who don't get a lot of love much of the time. Unfortunately, I'd love to get Ari on this list as well, but giving up 21 runs on your bench and never making a move is not going to get you on this list anytime soon.
Yeah.
Guys, I thank you both so much for being here.
Can I give
Jason,
my, do I give my for number one, or mine doesn't
I
count?
thought you did. I thought you did.
No, I said that my number two was you.
Okay, who's number one for you, buddy?
You guys. Oh, sorry. Um, my number one is actually Josh Tabor. But there was a ton of great managers this week. I just felt like the way that Josh actually had to play it out throughout the entire week against the guy, and the fact that it was tied all week basically, and it just came down to Sundays where I went with Josh. You guys kind of Sunday. Anyway, let's move on.
All right, let's go ahead and get out of here, Benji. Thanks so much for being here, my friend. I really appreciate you.
It was a pleasure, guys. And I was thinking today, knowing that we would have to do both part one and part two in the same day, and I was thinking like, wow, it's a lot for one day. But when I was in my dorm room, or maybe I was even in Jay Ferraro's dorm room the day that I created the bigs, and I knew Jason was going to be involved, and I knew Jo Schubert was going to be involved, there was no way that I could think that 20 years later we'd be discussing these matchups and the same managers, and how, Mike Sherman, who was there in 2005, beats Jay Ferraro, who was there in 2005, in this incredible matchup that's going to be memorable. Like, so many more memories to have, guys, and we've already had so many so far. So I'm just looking forward to more. Thank you so much for being a part of this league and having so much fun with it and competing each day, each week. I'm talking to you two gentlemen, but I'm also talking to this whole league, because this was another awesome week. And if it's only 10 weeks and a whole second half to go, I can only imagine what's in store.
This is going to be an amazing finish. I can't wait for it. Jason, thanks so much for being here, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, I think this may shape up to be one of, if not the greatest seasons, at least that I can remember. Like, because again, and we talked about it, there is no weak link in this league right now. There, even Frank sitting in last place, I'm in 15th place, but like there's still strong teams, there's still strong managers. It's not like there's no layups, there's no slam dunks here. So every week is a grind, every week is a struggle for everybody. And I think that's what makes this league just so amazing.
No doubt. We cannot wait to see what you guys put together for the final 10 weeks of this season. It is going to be an absolute ball to watch this and to be a part of it. I thank you all for being here. I thank you all for doing what you do to make this league what it is, because we would have no show without it. So until next time, guys, it's been real, it's been fun, and it is always real fun, the bigs. We'll see you next time.